You, Arthur, and all your colleagues at Bay organising this rally and gathering here today, plus all the other ones that are occurring around the country as we speak. The problems as a consequence of the global financial crisis, as far as I can understand, are complex, very involved, go across national boundaries, go across various occupations and industries, and it's difficult, I think, for all of us to really get to the heart of the problem. But the one thing we all know is the people who aren't responsible are the working people of Greece. They are simply victims of this whole crisis. If you want to start pointing the fingers, let's start pointing the fingers at a few other institutions, like one of these across the road here at the present time, who saw the opportunity, which they thought, to make huge profits by overzealous lending, and as a consequence, who's left with the fallout? Not the financiers themselves, not, in a lot of cases, the bureaucrats are involved, not the national governments, but ordinary working people. And as always, we, as the Labour movement, whether we're here in New South Wales, or whether we're in Europe, or whether in the US, we will stand in solidarity with working people when they are under attack. And there is no doubt, absolutely no doubt, that working people in Greece are under attack with this outrageous austerity program. How are you going to help repay your debts? Or how are you going to help stimulate an economy if you're adopting an austerity program? It makes no sense. The Greek people should have a future to look forward to because their country and the European Union and the IMF should be encouraging their economy to expand, not contract, and all the benefits that brings. It is outrageous, absolutely outrageous, when you think what's happened over the last 4 years as a consequence of this global financial crisis, that the people who are suffering most are working people in one European country. And as Arthur said, the danger is, if you're allowed to happen there, which group of working people are going to suffer next as a consequence. So we are proud at Unions New South Wales to support this statement. We were proud last night at our regular Thursday night meeting to adopt the statement. And we commit to continue to stand in solidarity with the working people of Greece as they struggle against this mean and outrageous, difficult and very, very unjust austerity program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark, for the support from Unions New South Wales. Amongst the other signatories also, we have Jed Carney, the President of the Australian Council of Trade Unions. Together, we have a united union movement here in Australia in support of the workers of Greece and all other countries that have to face these outrageous attacks. I'd like to now introduce the President of the Greek Orthodox community in New South Wales, Mr. Harry Vanalis, who's a signatory to this statement, to give a message from the Greek community. Harry.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming. The Greek community of New South Wales has always been at the forefront of any just struggle of the Greek people. And if there ever was a just struggle, this one, on behalf of the Greek people, is a just struggle. It's a struggle that is necessary for them to win. It was brought upon, as other speakers have said, not by them, but by the European institutions. And it's a road which we, together with the people, the Greek people all over the world, have to continue to fight and hope that there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. Any proposal, anything at all that helps them in that struggle, we are behind it. And I thank everyone for coming here today and supporting this very important movement on behalf of the Greek people. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. And just to re-emphasise the point about a unity with the trade union movement and the Greek community and other communities that face these hardships, I'd like to now introduce the national president of one of the largest unions in the country, the Australian Education Union, covering many teachers across the country, and its president is Angelo Gavrielatos. Please welcome him.
Thank you, Arthur. And I've got to say, colleagues, that it's with a source of great pride that I stand here before you as a Greek Australian trade unionist. Many of us were born out of a tradition of resistance, a history of resistance, resistance against occupation, resistance against fascism, resistance against the oppression of the Greek people. That is our shared tradition as Greek Australian trade unionists. And what I want to extend on behalf of my union and Greek Australian trade unionists today is our our solidarity with the Greek people, who are once again struggling against the pressing forces who wish to impose austerity measures that only bring the Greek people to their knees. The Greek people have suffered greatly throughout the 20th century, and our history shows that, and we cannot stand by and allow Greece and its working people to continue to suffer under such austerity measures. It makes me sick to look at what happened in the last few years and recognise that the world governments had no difficulty finding trillions of dollars to bail out the banks and the neoliberal ideologues that created this global financial crisis. Yet they were more than happy to impose austerity measures upon the Greek people, and as I said, would have only one consequence, and that would be to bring them to the ground and then bring them to their knees. When we hear of my colleagues, Greek teachers, suffering wage cuts of 40% from one day to the next, and at the same time experiencing increases in inflation of up to 35%, losing your purchasing power to the tune of 75%, that is truly outrageous. Well, today, here in Sydney, in Melbourne, in Adelaide and elsewhere, as Greek Australian trade unionists, as Greek citizens of this country, we extend our solidarity to the Greek people. We'll stand beside them.
Thank you, Angelo. I'd also like to acknowledge that in addition to the Australian Education Union, we have a number of signatories, 20 unions and counting, and increasing, who are supporting this. They include everyone from the National Construction, Forestry, Mining and Energy Union secretaries, the Maritime Union of Australia. We also have the Independent Education Union of Australia. We have the Australian Services Union, the Public Transport Union, the Transport Workers Union, and many, many more. What we're seeing is unity in action, and a unity that will continue and must continue. Now, if you'll allow me to say a few words in Greek, given that it is a Greek community event as well, I'll do my best. But if anyone is taking notes, please go lightly on my grammar. Φίλοι, μου δίνει πολύ χαρά να είμαι εδώ πέρα σαν Έλληνας συνδικαλιστής στην Αυστραλία. Είμαστε όλοι πολύ περήφανοι για την ελληνικότητά μας που λέμε. Που είμαστε όλοι Έλληνες. Είμαστε όλοι περήφανοι κιόλας ότι στεκόμαστε αναντίον το άδικο, όπου και να είναι. Τούτη φορά είναι στην Ελλάδα. Εδώ πέρα που στεκόμαστε να υποστηρίξουμε το λαό στην Ελλάδα. Γιατί πιστεύουμε ότι έχουν αδικηθεί. Ότι πιστεύουμε ότι τα συμφέροντα, οι τράπεζες και οι μεγάλες εταιρείες, που είναι η μεγαλύτερη αιτία για τούτη τη κρίση, τα έχουν κλέψει, τα έχουν τραβήξει τα χρήματα και έχουν αφήσει το λαό, τους εργάτες, τους άνεργους, τους φοιτητές και τους άλλους να τα πληρώσουν. Γι' αυτό είμαστε εδώ πέρα, να δείξουμε αυτή την υποστήριξη και θα συνεχίσουμε με αυτή την υποστήριξη. Να υποστηρίζουμε το λαό, τα συνδικάτα στην Ελλάδα και παντού. Γιατί ξέρουμε ότι άμα δεν σταθούμε τώρα με τους Έλληνες και με τους άλλες εργάτες σε άλλες χώρες, άμα δεν σταθούμε μαζί, ότι θα συνεχίσει. Και αυτό που γίνεται στην Ελλάδα τώρα, αυτό το πρόγραμμα, η αυστηρότητα και τα σκληρά τα μέτρα, θα τα κάνουμε και στην Ιταλία και στην Πορτογαλία και στην Ισπανία και σε άλλα κράτη. Γι' αυτό είμαστε εδώ πέρα και γι' αυτό θα συνεχίσει αυτός ο αγώνας. Και ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ πως ήρθατε σήμερα να μεταδώσουμε, να δώσουμε αυτό το μήνυμα στο πρόξενο και στους άλλους εδώ πέρα στο Greek Consulate της Ελλάδας. Ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ και συγγνώμη ξανά για τα αγγλικά μου, δοκιμάζω. Now, before we go on to the next thing, a couple more things. Angelo touched on the issue of the financial crisis and who pays. Let's be very clear about this. In 2008, with a global financial crisis, it was the workers in Greece, as in Australia and everywhere else, who paid to bail out those big financial institutions. Those financial institutions, many of whom remain, are back to making their billions of dollars of profits. They have never repaid that debt. They have never repaid for the damages caused, not just by the money that was used to bail them out, but for the damage that they cause to the economies, to the people and the communities throughout North America, Asia, Europe, Australia and elsewhere. The billions and the trillions of dollars have never been paid back. What nerve do these people have to now try and scapegoat the Greek people, amongst them the very workers who helped to bail them out in 2008 to pay again? That is where that weakness in their argument is, and that is why this is just so unjust. In my more limited Greek, I was conveying a similar message in the Greek language, but that is why this struggle needs to continue, and why this, as symbolic an action as it is, helps. And in Australia, we know from our history just how important international solidarity is. We remember the dark days of the junta and earlier, when Australians, along with others in America and elsewhere, formed solidarity committees, formed committees and struggles to help the people in Greece. It was effective then, and it will be effective now. And can I say from the communications that we've had with Greece, this solidarity is being heard in Greece, is having an effect. And for the workers, the steel workers, George Gotsis was telling me, the hundreds of workers in Greece who have been on strike for, 5 months now, the steel workers, well, they've just received a solidarity message from the steel workers at Port Kembla in Wollongong. That makes a difference, and we need to see more of that solidarity activity. For the others, particularly the unemployed and the students, particularly also for the young people, we want to make sure that they have a future in Greece. And whilst we want to take care of the individuals, we want to take care of those who do want a future elsewhere. The reality is, my friends, that the reason that many of us are here is because of that migration. And we don't want to see a situation where the best and the brightest and the most skilled are taken out of Greece again unnecessarily. We want a situation where they become part of the solution, where the austerity measures are not inflicted on the people, and that future generations of Greeks have a future in Greece with justice. That's the claim, that's why we're here. I'd like to now introduce, I've had a request from a couple in the community, and Lenny, did you want to say a few words? From the We Are All Greeks campaign. Now look, there was some misunderstanding, maybe I can clarify that today is organised by the unions and the Greek community people. We do have other groups in the community who support this campaign, and we have someone who tell us about that now. Thank you.
The We Are All Greek Sydney campaign has come here to support the Greek community of New South Wales and the trade unions. We've done the austerity measures that are happening in Greece at the moment. We are a movement, an international movement, an uncoordinated international movement of people, Australians, people of all different backgrounds, not just Greeks. We are not a nationalist Greek movement. We are an international movement of people of all different legal persuasions and all different backgrounds. And our concerns are that the Greek struggle is also our struggle. It's a struggle, a worldwide struggle. There have been more than 100,000 jobs lost in the public service in Greece. Wages have been cut. I'm not going to repeat what's already been said, but one thing that should be said is that children are now going hungry in schools and pensioners have no medications. So our role is to re-educate maybe the media on what's really happening in Greece. There's been a lot of racism in the Australian media as well as the international media about the Greek people, and our role is to help with that and also support any organisation who struggles at all and tries to support Greece and their struggle. So I'd like to thank you, and we can be reached on through Facebook on We Are All Greek Sydney campaign. So let's not forget that the Greek struggle is also our struggle.
Thank you very much for that and your support. Now, just given that it is an international struggle, we do have a friend here from the Iranian community who's been involved in the human rights campaign and wants to express his solidarity and support. The Iranian campaign, the human rights campaign, wants to express his solidarity.
Thank you very much. I am here to support what you are doing, which I'm not happy. This is violation